Good day, guys. Austin here, as per normal, and today we are going to be setting up the Nintendo Game Boy. Now this is spot on. I mean, not just the actual console or handheld, whatever it is, because it is definitely one of my favourites, but the emulation of it, I cannot believe how well they have done it in terms of the little tiny pixels, the way the screen looks and stuff. I've made a bezel for it to just bring it up that extra level, and yeah, it's spot on. In terms of the Game Boy itself, fuck me, what a system. I had this back in the day. It was probably my first handheld, and to be honest, it's probably the last handheld that I really bothered with. I mean, I've had some since then, the PSPs and shit like that, but I never really bothered with them, to be honest. It's one of them that I just bought because I thought they would be okay. But the actual Game Boy used to just, well, to be honest, I'd end up spending more on batteries playing it than I would on games, and it's not very often that I would say something like that. I did have a very good collection, but to be honest, the size of the collection for Game Boy back in the day, you would be very hard pressed to be able to get a collection that, well, encompassed all the games. Anyway, I'm just waffling shit as per normal, so let's actually set this puppy up. Okay, as per normal, in the link below, down the bottom, you will find a link. The link is most probably to a mega site. In the mega site there will be a folder for you to download, and if done by default it will end up on your desktop. Something similar to this. So while I'm yapping on, I'm just going to uncompress, decompress, whatever it is you call it. Extract here. Onto my desktop, so then we can have a look at it and we can start to play. Yeah, I fucking love the Game Boy, to be honest. It really was one of my fave systems. I had, the good thing about it is the games were cheap. I mean, back then games were kind of, yeah, expensive for what it was. I mean, I didn't have much money as a kid. I was dragged up rather than brought up, and you know, I didn't have the money to just go out and buy games willy-nilly. So buying something for me was important because, you know, I didn't have chances to go back and change things and stuff. The best chance I had to get good games was probably to actually dupe somebody out of a swap. So if I knew I had a shit game, I would big that shit up all over school saying it was the best game that ever existed. And then I get some sucker with a game that I know is good and swap it with my shit game. But times change. I'm now a very truthful person, and I would never even condone anything like that at all. Anyway, this is fucking me waffling shit as per normal. Let's get stuck into this, because this isn't that hard, to be honest. Right, first off, my apologies, I am rendering again, and my mouse, look at the state of that. How am I supposed to perform in this kind of scenario? Anyway, let's do it. Let's try our best. So first off then, we'll take ourselves to our HYPERSPIN install. So in our case, well in my case it's in my D drive, in my HYPERSPIN folder, and there we are. The emulator is already set up. We are going to be using the RetroArch. Why fucking not, it runs everything else. Now to be honest, it's very good, not in terms of just playability and the way it's emulated, but also the way it looks. It is spot on. I mean, it keeps the authentic feel of the, you know, the green screen that it had, but it also doesn't take away the, I don't know, the whole feel of it, the way it was back then. It's just, well, let's just do it anyway, so you can see for yourself. Right, first off, what we're going to do first, HyperLaunch. Let's check that in HyperLaunch HQ we've actually got Game Boy set up. I think it may not be, to be honest, I'm not sure. Is it? Is it? Come on. Nintendo. For some reason Nintendo Game Boy Advance decides to be in there, but no Game Boy. Okay, so we're going to have to enable this as default. So we'll exit out of here. Take yourself over to Hyper HQ. Whilst this is loading, we are going to see the official naming convention of the Nintendo Game Boy. Because this isn't added as default, we're going to actually have to add the system. Oh my god, my mouse is doing my head in. Okay, so first off, before we can do that, we need to find out exactly how it is named. So the way we do that is HyperLaunch HQ, Media, Icons, and if you've been watching my tutorials, you will see that in here is a list of all the icons for HyperLaunch HQ, but the most useful part of this is the actual naming convention that goes along with these systems. Theoretically, you can put any name you want in there and you can get it to run no problem. But if you if you put an official system in there and you don't name it correctly with the exact naming conventions, then at some point down the line, trust me, you will have problems, whether it be in hypersync or actually running the game or getting things to set up and actually work together. So yeah, have a look in here. First off, we're going to look for Nintendo Game Boy. Where have you got? Nintendo, ABC, Nintendo. Okay, so we're looking at Nintendo Game Boy. Some countries like it to be joined together. Some countries like it to be joined together with capital letters. Looks like this one is all separate words with capital letters. So apparently, I've been reading somebody's comments, because I'm learning all the time. Let's see if this works. So, okay, I've just basically copied it into my clipboard. I'm now going to go over to the adder system. I'm going to click into it, and somebody said if I press Control V, oh, ho, 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 every day's a school day on these guides, isn't it? Even I'm learning today. Normally, you see, I cannot right click to press paste in there, but somebody says press Control V and it'll put it in there. Boom. I'm learning, you're learning, we're all learning, let's all make magic. And look, a metaphoric magic hat, just for this kind of scenario that we just had. Okay, so we'll click onto there. Does this menu have a subwheel? Yes, that means that do you want it to have the list of games once you click onto that actual Nintendo Game Boy? Trust me, but yes. So now we need to place it. Basically, I want it to go after Nintendo 64, but before the Game Boy Advanced. I like to keep my handhelds and my consoles together, but in the same make, if that makes any sense. Anyway, put it wherever you want, but I'm going to put it here. So I'm going to add before. Are you sure you want to add Nintendo Game Boy? Yes, basically. Okay. My mouse is really doing my tits in today. Yep, ticks across the board, not bothered. More ticks and a big gump for text. Basically it's saying well done, pat on the back, you've added this system. And a metaphoric hat to say that we made magic, enabling to us to copy and paste the name of that system. Right, so we can exit out of here for the time being, we don't need this. And now we can actually go back to where we were. Okay, so first thing first, now we've enabled the system, what's that's done is it would have made a load of files and folders within our HYPERSPIN setup. So let me come back out. Oh, this is so annoying, my mouse. I feel like I've got lag everywhere on my mouse. I hate it. Anyway, let's get this set up. Right, so like I said, by enabling that system and bringing it up onto our HYPERSPIN setup, what that would have done is made a load of media files within here. Where's it gone? Nintendo Game Boy, there we go. It would have made all the files and folders that it needs. So theoretically, from this point on, we could have just placed all the bits and bobs into the folders where it needs it. Luckily for you guys, as per normal, I've made just the drag and drop stuff. So if you've been following my guides, this should work. My God. Mouse is doing my tits in. Okay, so as you can see, as per normal, we've got the readme file. We've got the made by me. Now, I have updated this readme file. I know I say this every time, but I really have updated it this time. Now, I cannot stress, I mean, I'm having palpitations, whatever it's called right now, thinking about the information that's within that readme file and knowing the kind of impact it's going to make on your lives, not just as a person, but I mean general. I mean, your whole family will be affected by exactly what is in that readme file right now. So make sure you take it on board, make sure you absorb the information and utilize it in a way that would not only help you, but help the world and those around you. So enough said on that one. Okay, back onto the actual task at hand. Right, these two folders are the ones that we're going to need. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to highlight those two folders, and as you can see within our HYPERSPIN setup, we have got the databases and the media as matches the ones that we just highlighted in here. So theoretically I can just drag these over, paste them in here, and what that will do, it will mingle itself within the files and folders of our HYPERSPIN setup. And at this time it's asking me, do you want to overwrite shit? And I'm going to say yes, do what you wish. Okay, so now we've got all the media set up in there, everything's ready to rumble. Right, now let's get this actually set up. So first off, Hyper Launch HQ. Let's get this going. Boom, 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 shake the room. Sorry guys, I'm a bit hyper today. I had some good news. Right, where we are. Come on, Nintendo Game Boy. Okay, normally at this stage we would be setting up our emulator, but that's already done. We already know we're using RetroArch, and if you haven't already done it, then I suggest you go back and do it, because I would have warned you at the beginning of this video that you need RetroArch to actually run this system. So now you've got that set up, there's no need to play with the emulator. What we need to do is tell the Game Boy that we want to run it through that emulator. So first things first, as always, click on the Nintendo Game Boy, go to the emulator tab, let's get it activated. Let's actually full screen this so we can see what's going on. Okay, as always, ROM paths, little green X or cross, whatever you call it. We're going to tell it where all our games are. I've actually just updated all my games because I found that I had a load missing. I've still got some missing, but I've got the majority now. Where are we at? HYPERSPIN, ROMs, Nintendo, come on. Nintendo Game Boy. Okay, don't want the backup, I want the originals. Okay, so now I've told it where my ROMs are, it knows where to find them. Now I need to tell it what emulator to use. As we've already said about 5 times in this tutorial, I'm going to be using RetroArch. But look at the bountiful emulators that could bring you pleasure on your gaming screens. You could use any one of these, however, I'm actually showing you RetroArch. There we go. Next stage, modules. No, we're not going to mess around with that. And games. Now, just to make sure it's working, yeah, I've got mostly green across the board. As you can see, I've actually got quite a lot of games missing. But that's something I can sit down and focus on in my own time. I'm not going to bore you with it now. Right, some things I will need to do in order for it to look good and make it work. First off, click the settings tab. I believe all mine are compressed, so I'm going to put it to true. If yours are not compressed, then I would suggest obviously putting it to false or default. If it doesn't work when you load the system, please change this setting first, because it's usually the first cause of something fucking up along the way. Okay, next bit, fade. Let's get this sorted. Fade progress, here we go. Right, as always, this is a tiny game when it loads. It is compressed in mine, however, I don't want to see it being uncompressed with a visual aid, because it will go to 0 to 100% in a matter of less than a second. So I want to take that off and make it look just normal, so I'm just going to put image there, and in this setting I'm going to put that to false, because I don't want to see the progress of it. It'll be almost instantaneous. Come on. Next bit, I am going to enable the bezel, because it's a lovely bezel, so I'm going to set that to true. And one last thing, where are you? Fade general, I think it is. Okay, I've actually included a little, well, it's a little icon that sits in the bottom right hand corner. That's included with the media that you followed over. So basically, to make it look good and unwarped, because if you don't do this, then it will look like a little warped icon in the corner. Basically, what we want to do is change this to bottom center. Bottom center, where is it? Bottom center. On this one, I want to go to, if the keyboard works, 2, 3, 1. On this one, I want to go 250, 250, and on the animation padding, I want to go 420. Okay, now by the gods of Game Boys, now when I go to my actual games tab, select game, what should we play? What's the one with the little girl and she had bubbles, balloons? Is it Balloon World or something? I love that game. Where's it gone? Balloon Kid. Yes, motherfucker. Where's my control pad? Is this going to be a high-pitched noise? It's me acknowledging my gamepad. So now I should be able to load this. Okay, let's give it a test and then make sure that all our settings are correct. I bet it all messes up now. Okay, fade screen's working okay by the looks of it.
Loading game.
There's
Loading complete.
Bottom right hand corner, looking cool as fuck, if I do say so myself. Come on. Got this. Oh my god. Look at that fucking game. I'm actually going to play this for a second because I fucking love this game. Highly addictive. It's a lovely bezel as well, by the way. Perfect bezel. Come on. Okay, I can't play for too long. This is supposed to be a tutorial. But yes, epic game. I suggest as soon as you get that set up, that's the first game you play. It's not even that great, but it's so fucking addictive, and the theme tune to it as well. Spot on. Spot on. Okay, so we know it works now. We've got it set up. It looks fucking awesome, if I don't say so myself, or if I do say so myself, what it is you say. Everything's working. It's compressing. The fade's working. The little icon in the corner is spot on. Now we can exit the realm of Hyperlaunch HQ. Goodbye. And let's go into Hyper HQ, because now we've, as you've been listening to my metaphors, now we've set up the engine to power the game. Now we need to set up the bodywork to make it look good. In other words, to bring the games to us. So what we're doing in Hyper HQ is setting up the actual front end of it, the bit that you see within HYPERSPIN. So first off, we need to go to wheel settings at the top here. Choose a wheel. So obviously we're going to be doing the Nintendo Game Boy. Boom, boom, boom. Okay, ROM path. Again, it's telling you to suck eggs. I know this. We've done this twice. But before we were doing it for the emulator to know where the games are, in this one, we're telling it where the games are so it knows which games to show us. Obviously, if you've got games missing, or if you've only got a bit of games for that set, then you don't want a wheel that shows every game. By showing it this, it will only show us the games which we possess, therefore making sense and lacking errors when you actually try and load a game that you've not got. Okay, so waffling on again. Let's get this done. So I'm going to tell you my ROMs are Nintendo Game Boy, and there we go. Okay, and now we're going to type the extensions. Again, mine are all zipped up, so I'm going to do these. Obviously the extensions that you've got may differ, just put those in instead. Remember, there's no spaces, it's just a comma and then the next extension. So 7-zip, ra, and zip in my case. Obviously you could have something different, but I know all mine are compressed, so I know it's going to be one of them extensions. Everything else looks good. Wheel, okay, let's have a mess with this if I can. Bring that to 0 because I don't want to see the wheel as I'm scrolling through. I like that to be vertical. Basically normal means that the wheel is curved. Vertical means that it goes straight up and down. 400 and 240 just the way I like it. Animation on, and everything there looks good. Okay, in these I want to tick ROM only. So that's where this is paramount. It's so important that you get this right, because if then you tick this box, it's saying that I only want to see the games that I've got. If you can't find the games, then basically it's going to throw you straight back out of that wheel. So ensure that that's correct if you tick this box. Wheels only, yes, I only want to see the ones that I've got wheels for. I want it to return to the last game, and I want to remove the text field info. Okay, that's that complete. Next, the video. Tell it where my video files are. I'm going to set it up as default. So in my case it would be the HYPERSPIN folder, media, Nintendo Game Boy, and video, and then press OK. Next bit, sounds. Turn that shit off. Get rid of that first box. No matter even if you like it, just turn it off because it fucking wrecks your head. You might like it for 2 minutes, but after that, trust me, you'll be murdering old people or something. It's fucking annoying as shit. Next tab, special art. Okay, only follow this if you have a 360 pad. I cannot emphasize that anymore. Only do this if you have a 360 pad. If you haven't, leave it as is and ignore everything I'm just going to do on this tab. Okay? I cannot stress or keep on reminding you about this shit. Okay, So untick everyone apart from special artwork B1 enabled. So on this one I'm going to put 500. On this one I'm going to put 384. On this one I'm going to put 1. On that one I'm going to put 1. On that one I'm going to put 3. And I'm going to keep these as default. So make sure the settings are like this if you have a 360 pad. If not, don't do it. Easy. Okay, that is that now set up. That is the Game Boy up and running on your system. Oh, I fucking hope it is anyway. There is 2 issues that you will have. Let's exit out of there first off. Okay, there is 2 issues that you will have. The videos, you will need to sync them or source them or do whatever it is you want to do with them. Have a look at my HYPERSync video if you want more guidance on that kind of stuff, because I haven't got the upload speed to upload the videos, and also it's taking someone's livelihood away from them at the end of the day. You can get them from all kinds of places, MU Movies being the best one, but you know, source them what you want. Have a look at my HYPERSync video if you want more information or guidance on that kind of stuff. And the other thing is the games and developer and year that will display in the bottom left hand corner when we get into the Nintendo wheel. That will be looking grey and ugly and out of place. Have a look at the tips and tricks 2015, and that will show you how to actually make that look good. I'll actually show you mine after it, so to prove that it can look good. Right, so let's open up HYPERSPIN. Please, gods of Game Boys, show me what I want to see. Basically, I want to see a Game Boy with car art and all kinds of shit going on. Where are we at? Game Boy then. There we go. Looking good. Looking good. Remember, like I said, there's no videos. You have to sync these yourself or source them yourself. And here we are. There's all your wheels, your box art, your car art. Remember, have a look at the Tips and Tricks 2015. To get that where it says Xenon 2 Mega Blast, basically to get that changed so it's looking good. I will now show you mine to show you how great this system is and what you can end up with as a finished article. Come on. Got this. It's louder. There you go. I don't want to waste too much of your time. This has been a lengthy video because I've been pissing about. But, you know, sit back, enjoy a coffee, kick up a fat one, and enjoy my videos. Yeah, that's Game Boy, to be honest. That should now be set up. As always, if you do have any problems, or if you just want to chill with me, or can, I don't know, talk about anything, I really don't mind. I'm happy, and I'm, you know, will answer any of your questions that you want at all. Don't feel, you know, you can basically contact me whenever you want. I've got my Facebook page on my links. My Twitter is always saying what I'm going to be releasing next. The Facebook basically gives you some helping hands of where to get certain things, so it's a good page to go on to. And as always, you can comment below if you've got any problems. You can find me at the HYPERSPIN forums. Get me anywhere. Come and knock around the house for all I care. I'll make you a brew and we'll sit down and chat shit to each other. But as always, it's been a pleasure bringing this to you. I hope that you have a nice setup and then it goes without any issues whatsoever. And as always, share, like, subscribe, share. We're not going to stop this epidemic of people buying pre-configured drives which do not work, by the way, unless we share the videos. So thanks a lot, guys. Make sure you subscribe, and laters.